Hey guys, my name is Hannah and I just graduated from a small art college called Laguna College of Art and Design. My major was kind of a long one. It was called graphic design plus digital media with an illustration emphasis. Which meant I did graphic design, but also things like photography, videography, video editing, and also illustration as well. So I thought it would be cool to give 5 tips for people going into graphic design as a major, things I wish I knew before I started college. The first thing I will say is that the classes are going to be a lot harder than you think. It's a heavy workload, there are a lot of assignments, and there's just a lot of time you need to save to do homework. A lot of people I know who went to my school had to take 5 years because it was just a lot of work in a small amount of time. You just need to be prepared to have a lot of homework and to not procrastinate. You cannot procrastinate or else you will fall behind very fast. The next point I want to make kind of goes hand in hand with that, and it's the pacing of the classes. For beginner classes, a lot of times you have a lot of small assignments ending with a big final at the end of class. But in the more advanced classes, as you go through college, you get sometimes one big project for the entire semester for the class, or maybe even 2 big projects for the entire semester. But usually what happens is the pacing is a bit weird. For the first half of the semester up until midterms, it's very slow paced, very easy, mostly ideation, sketching, and research, a lot of research. But when midterm hits, after you do the midterm critique of your ideas, the second half of the semester is when you actually get to work in making those ideas and creating the assets. And this is kind of jarring because you're kind of smooth sailing through the first half of the semester, and then the second half of the semester hits and it's boom, we're going. So what I would suggest is after midterms, just get to work and work hard and do not give up because it becomes very fast. Don't worry, it's still possible to get all your work done. I still managed to get 8 hours of sleep every night, all 4 years while I was at school, but you just have to not procrastinate really. Because if you start procrastinating on one class, it will snowball into all the other classes, and then in the last 2 weeks you will find yourself with a bunch of work with all your finals due, and it'll be really sucky. So just don't procrastinate. The next tip I want to give is to make a group chat with the people in your class. My college was pretty small, so I had about 8 to 20 people in each of my classes. So what we did in the very first semester of school is we made a group chat. It was actually called Type Class of Death because we thought that class was so hard, and it was Typography 1. It was really a hard class. But we made this group chat so that we can text each other about homework and stuff, because a lot of the times the homework will be really unclear. So by having a group chat, you don't have to go and bother your teacher every time you have a question. You can just ask your classmates. To ask your friends is helpful, and it's also an easy way to make new friends. My next tip is to take classes that scare you. At our school, we had a set of classes that were required, and then you could also take some electives. The required classes were things like fundamentals of graphic design, fundamentals of composition and color, fundamentals of typography, things like that, things that every designer needs to know. But the electives were things a little more specialized. Like you could take things like 3D or motion graphics or prints and patterns, things like that put you in a specific direction you want to go in your career. So for me, I always avoided the hard classes because I kind of wanted to get by easily and without having to do any really difficult topics that scared me. So a class I always avoided was something called motion graphics, which is just working with After Effects. I always avoided that because it scared me how hard it would be. I knew I'm not that good at technology, I'm not good at video editing, I don't think I can handle this. So I was finally brave enough to take it, and it was one of the most easiest and rewarding classes I've ever taken. I'm so happy I took that class. Now I know motion graphics, and the fact that I know motion graphics scored me a good job straight out of college. If I didn't take that class, I don't know if I would even have a job today. So take classes you're not comfortable with, because chances are you'll do fine and you'll learn something new that will help you in your career. Speaking of career, the last tip I want to touch on is to do graphic design jobs during college. And you might be thinking, but I don't have the skills yet to be a graphic designer. How am I going to actually get a design job while I'm in college? Well, you probably know a lot more than you think, and you can definitely score some little jobs here and there. I started college working a regular part-time job at a children's daycare, and that was fine and all, but it was a lot of hours for not a lot of pay. The cool thing about graphic design jobs is that a lot of the time it will be above minimum wage, for less work. What I did starting sophomore year is I went on this website called Upwork, which is a website for freelancers to get jobs. People will post jobs that they need people to work on, and you will apply to the jobs. So maybe somebody posts like, I need a logo done for my new restaurant, and you'll apply with a cover letter and your portfolio, some examples, and then they'll get back to you if they like you, and you'll get to work, and then they'll pay you. My first job, I was a sophomore in college, was doing these feminine line art illustrations, and you know, it was really fun. I think I got $70 out of it. Now I could probably get more money out of that, but at the time that was the most money I've ever gotten from doing graphic design jobs, and it felt so nice. Eventually I just quit my daycare job and then just every morning would apply for jobs on Upwork and get money through that. The great thing about Upwork is that you don't have to stay on Upwork. You meet people on Upwork and then eventually they become your long-term clients. Another thing is you don't want to get out of college and then have no graphic design experience on your resume. That looks bad. Employers want to see that you actually have real experience working as a graphic designer in the professional world, not just in school, because the professional world of design is very different than the school world of design. So yeah, those are my tips for incoming graphic design majors. Thank you so much for watching.